Welcome to Impact Tech Studio podcast, where we spotlight founders building technology with real-world impact. Today, we're joined by Karunya Lakhani, AI innovator, data scientist, and founder of Medino. From her early career at Accenture to advanced research at UBC, Karunya went on to build India's first indigenous dermatology-focused LLM. In this episode, we explore how Medino is helping doctors make informed decisions, personalize care, and bring AI into everyday clinical practice. Let's dive in. Hello, Karunya. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Very, very good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Are you
Good
comfortable?
morning there, right?
Are you in the right area, ready for the podcast?
Yes.
Right. So, yes, it's a good morning. So, I am based out of the UK. So, at this moment here, it's morning for you. For you, it's post lunch, right?
Post lunch. Yes.
Right. So, uh, first of all, happy to have you on the podcast. So, basically, the reason for you to be on the podcast is that we found out that your product is working on a strategic platform, and on that strategic platform, you're building something that can revolutionize how clinical care is given. So on that note, we thought that you should be on the podcast, and this podcast is basically a gift to all those who are basically wanting some eyeballs to their product, and they want to get the right kind of connections after the podcast, during the podcast, and then what we also do is we become your extended team, right? So ImpactX Media has done that for the last 35 startups, which we've interviewed, and we take it slow. We move slowly. Why? Because we are actually investing in some of them. We are also introducing them to someone. We're also helping them in their value chain. Those are the things that we end up doing just as a gift to people who come on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Welcome, Karunya. So, I'll give you an introduction of yours. Karunya Lakhani is an AI innovator and data scientist with over a decade of experience in healthcare, AI research, and high impact technology. As the founder and CTO of Medino, she specializes in generative AI, LLMs, and agentic AI, recently leading the landmark development of India's first indigenous dermatology only LLM trained on the Param supercomputing infrastructure. So
Yeah.
that's where the key part of the product is. Right. Apart from that, there is a lot of lovely journeys of this amazing founder. So I would love to ask her journey from Accenture to UBC and UBC to co-founding Medino. What drives that, right? So what is the drive behind it, and how did you come to Medino, and what was the forces that led to this? Right.
Yeah. To be honest, it actually didn't start with an intention of working in healthcare AI.
Interesting.
Okay. I myself am electronics and telecommunication engineer.
Amazing.
So it was all the journey which actually started at Accenture. Accenture as a fresher actually forced me to do work with larger systems across data
Right.
and data in healthcare.
Right.
It actually started from Accenture, where I seen a larger systems where the decisions were made on top of data.
Right.
But it was very it was not a usable intelligence, but some sort of usable intelligence in that journey a decade ago, where AI was just forming its root in between.
Mhm.
That is when I decided to move on to UBC, because then in India there was nothing called as AI. There was nothing called as data science.
Right.
The only data science was available was outside India,
Hmm.
and one of the top 10 universities who were providing the data science masters. One of them was UBC,
Right.
and if I remember, it was the first batch of UBC where I was doing my graduation, the postgrads.
Mm-hmm.
In UBC, I realized that the gap in healthcare is even more visible, because when you do research, when you are as a researcher, you do on research on clinician data or clinical conversations that happen, you realize something. It's very important that the healthcare decisions that are made are always under pressure. Okay, they have an incomplete information. For example, today you move out of UK and let's say you are in US. You don't have all of your medical records in place with you.
Correct.
For happen, let's say you get a fever or you are unconscious.
Correct.
You will not have all the medical records with you at that moment.
Right.
And that is where if a doctor has to make an informed decision, he cannot, because he doesn't have a data.
Right.
He doesn't have your data.
Right.
So that's where, it leads to human consequences, right? For example, I can save a life, I cannot save a life because I really don't know that this person is allergic to something.
Correct.
That's what pulled me in. That it was not the technology, but it was a responsibility that actually I got visibility during the UBC time.
Right. Right. So when you were looking at data, obviously, I see that your product is HIPAA compliant. So you're able to go across boundaries and then deliver the same kind of standardization, I believe. So from the data side, what kind of dissonance of data happens when you are going from India to the US? Give me an example. So for example, your current startup. So let's go back to your startup, right? So your company is Medino and it, if I'm not wrong, focuses on dermatologists, right? So,
Yes.
and making their life easy, right? As well as helping people to have, if I am correct, helping people to have individual care customized for them, built on their data, to build a program for the dermatologist to get an informed decision, to make an informed decision with that data. So is when you say when you say standardization and the doctor does not know, right? So what kind of data points? Give me an example of from the dermatology line. What are some examples of things that you've dealt with?
With respect to patient, for example, let's say I'll just speak about Indian scenarios right now.
Done.
Okay. I in let's say I'm moving. There's a Pune. It's an area is in Maharashtra, right? So in Pune, the climate, the environment, the water, all three are different. Okay, so I have traveled from Mumbai to Pune and I've stayed in Pune for let's say a week or so.
Right.
And suddenly I see that I have outbursts of acne on my skin.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now I move to
Similar thing happens with me as well. So for me,
Yes.
in India, I'm oily skin,
Yes.
and here I'm not oily. So the people who I just say I have oily skin, they give me the wrong creams and the wrong things to work with.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now you go to Mumbai, go back to Mumbai, you visited your local dermatologist and he sees your acne and he's like, okay, this is what you have to apply. He just
Right.
sees the acne type of acne and gives
Right.
it.
Right.
He doesn't have your history that you went to Pune, there was a change in water, there was a change in weather, there was a change in a lot of other parameters which could have affected your skin outbreaks of acne have come in. He will start with trial and error. He'll give you a normal acne prescription that he gives to everybody. So that's one of the basic, it's very basic. If you just tell the doctor that you had changed the place, the water was different, there was a saline water, the groundwater was not impure water, any environmental factor you consider, doctor doesn't have your information at all. The moment he sees that there is no effect on your acne based on the treatment he has given, then he will start asking you further detailed questions or maybe ask for a certain test that has to be performed. That was one of the major, area where the informed decisions for the doctor comes in when they start using Medino.
So my question is then that how do you get contextual data? So one is the immediate data, the primary data of the skin. What you see is what you report and what the medical prescriptions give from the last understanding that you had. So that data comes into your platform. Apart from that, the contextual data. So for example, knowing what was the moisture type in Pune as compared to Mumbai, what was the climate and what was the effect of that on your skin type, right? So how does your platform help in that and how do you get that data?
Correct. So the first thing I would say, I'll use step by step. If you were just on the doctor side, it will let you know that there is an environmental effect on the skin itself. So that's the first thing the doctor will then suddenly blink his eyes. Okay, there's an environmental factor, higher environmental factor. That means the patient has moved a place or some environmental change has happened. So we can ask in the doctor setting, in the clinical setting area.
Right.
We also have a consumer app. When I say consumer app, it's a network effect. It's B2C where, if you want to be an informed or maybe very, a consumer, if you are a healthy consumer or conscious consumer, you can use that app to track your uh, lifestyle changes with respect to cosmetic products that you're using, with respect to changes that are happening. If you're visiting somewhere, you can scan the product, check it on your skin whether it's working or not. So the curated data is coming from both these settings, clinical settings as well as the consumer settings that we have it in place. Though initially we are not focused more on the consumer side, it goes through the doctors itself. It goes to the network effect. You go to a doctor, visit a doctor. If a clinic is empowered by Medino, you will already have an app with you. So in that app, you can set that. If you don't, then the doctor can identify with the scan. There's an environmental factor.
Getting curious about the app now. So when
Yeah.
you're looking at the app and you're going into the app and you're making a profile of your own, so the consumer goes in. So me being a consumer goes in, makes a profile of his own, whatever data that it's asking me to fill up and make a profile. Apart from that, what kind of secondary data that the app can be enabled to collect without getting any input directly from the customer?
So that's, yeah, the directly on the customer, it's always what location you are in, which gives us the geographical parameters.
Right. Okay.
Okay. With respect to other healthcare parameters, if you allow, we also have your vitals getting captured inside the app. Okay. With and also if you scan your products, that's very, very, very important, because if you are very conscious about your skin, or if you're not conscious about your skin, today there are marketing gimmicks. Okay, they would say XYZ is a brand and it can make you fairer or
Right.
etc.
Right.
So the marketing gimmicks, if you can just scan the product and it will let you know, but analyzing the ingredients it has in that formulation, it has what hidden components it has, and you already have your profile.
Correct.
All of these gets analyzed and gives you a beautiful picture of whether this product has to be bought or not. What, use it cautiously, don't use it cautiously, or you can go ahead with the product. I'll give a very good example. When I started building this journey of Medino, the consumer side, I went to one of the bigger pharmacy chains.
Right.
And I bought their product which they had kept on sale.
Right.
The product said paraben free.
Right.
It was a claim on the product. It was a body wash. I thought, why not check it, what it is, what it has not. I just scanned it. It was my first initial trial with my own product.
Right.
And it said it contains paraben. The formulatory ingredients which were there,
Right.
those ingredients without paraben cannot make a body wash.
Oh my God.
And still there was a claim on them,
Right.
paraben free, sulfate free,
Right.
and selling it on sale. And it's a very big pharmaceutical chain.
Right.
So that also, so all of this.
So when you do, so for example, when you do that research, right? So you look at the ingredients of a cream or a body wash, right? In this case, so for that thing, how do you do it? So is it on the box you scan it, or do you put it on the skin, and it analyzes what is the visual data input?
Yeah. So the first, when you create a profile, that time you have to scan your face. Okay, you have
Right.
to scan the first complete picture, your cheek side and everything. If you're just conscious about face, we also have for the hair. Then we're talking about face.
Right.
But the face, when your profile is set, now you have a product with you, and the product has ingredients listed. I don't want to go into marketing gimmick that we don't capture. We just want the ingredient snapshot. Take that picture. There is a formulatory agentic AI involved. It just identifies with this formulation, with this percentage of concentration that it has in, what are the hidden tools, what are the hidden ingredients that are supposed to be there. And then it suggests you based on your profile. For example, I would say, I again go into little technical detail. Comedogens, if
Right.
you are an acne prone area and your product has to be non-comedogenic, there are certain ingredients which will cause acne breakouts. And as a consumer, I don't know because I'm not from that field. I will just go ahead, I will buy a branded let's say being a girl, I will buy a makeup.
Hmm.
Okay. And that makeup is not non-comedogenic. Not everybody knows that I have to buy a makeup which is non-comedogenic, otherwise it will cause acne. So and it identifies the ingredients. So we have that agentic AI which flows in, analyzes the ingredients, and then it suits you, suggests you that, okay, this is the reason, and that is why you should not use it.
So your platform is prescriptive as well.
Yes.
Okay. So one caveat that comes to the mind whenever somebody looks at your product is, how can it be prescriptive when is it only prescriptive for OTC, or is it prescriptive for, it must be prescriptive for OTC only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So prescriptive is not for the consumer side again, because for me, healthcare was always like AI healthcare was always for the clinicians to make informed decision.
Understood.
So my platform will never suggest prescription to the consumer while the app.
Right.
It is only on the clinical setting that the dermatologist can use it to prescribe.
Amazing.
So it will prescribe. It can
So it's a
prescribe.
tool for them. They can choose or not to choose. It has to be certified by. Yeah, correct. Then it makes sense, right? And then looking at how many users do you have on the app currently?
So I would say we
Both
have,
sides. Yeah.
okay, on the dermatologist side, we have 9 chains of dermats using it. So if you say the clinical settings, they have approximately one has 7 clinics.
Hmm.
So across Mumbai and Pune.
Right.
So we had launched the product 3 months ago. Just
Interesting.
before that, we were building and training, and based on the 3 months, this is what we have traction so far.
Right.
And within this 3 months, we also have built our own hardware scanner, which is Dermascope, which includes Medino inbuilt.
Right.
So it's again for the clinical setting where doctor doesn't need a laptop or anything else. It's just a handy tool, scan it, and there you see everything. That's, you call it as a Dermascope in the medical term. So
Right.
that gives you a stickiness of the doctor, because
Right. Once the
without
hardware aligns to your software, it actually becomes a part of their tool which they know how to use, right? So they keep on making it as comfortable as possible for them.
as possible. Yeah. That happened up within this 3 months. So and now we are calling it as a screening device. Once we have an ICMR trials being done on that device, we get our approval as a medical device, then we'll call it as a diagnostic device.
Amazing. So you're into clinical trials for it as well.
Yeah. So that's what the conjunction between CMI gyms and Medino has happened.
Right.
So we'll be doing clinical trials with them. In their, that's a government hospital.
Yes.
So the trials will go on for almost a month and a half with them.
Right.
And then with the data that we'll be collecting, we will submit it to ICMR for verification, and then the approval.
How long is the gestation period of this trial period?
If I would say, it would take 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. And apart from that, your app is already in the market.
Yes, app is already in market.
So the online version is there, and a little bit of adoption of the device has started happening for them to give some results out of it as well.
Yes.
So yeah. So what is your company structure? How are you structured? Who are the team members? How have you structured your organization? Please tell.
Yeah. So with core team members, it's me and my brother, who is Sadanand Kavna. He's actually the CEO of the company. He takes care of the business and the marketing side.
Right.
His core forte is marketing. He has an MBA from MIT.
Right.
And very much involved with pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
So he has worked with pharmaceutical companies, and from there he's taking care with the marketing part and rolling out the business. I, being the CTO, I completely take care of the tech side.
Right.
And we have a team. We have a very small team, I would say.
Amazing.
We have a team including interns and the technical developers. But it's a very small team, because I believe when you are at the very nascent stage of developing something, you need to have those people who are aligned with your thoughts. And to find those people, it is very difficult.
Correct.
So That's why I have a smaller team and
Yeah, so it's like third month.
Yeah.
So you're actually structuring it in a way that it becomes the flow of people. So you're like looking at the right people. So long time back when I started, so I also have a business of co-working spaces in India.
Oh, yeah.
Delhi NCR, we have 4 co-working spaces. So building the team in the beginning, what you need is the guys who can see your lowest of the low and build the highest of the high with you while the lowest of the low is hitting you hard, right?
That's absolutely true.
So that is a journey. It is a journey, and I think this is an approach that you will end up getting structured. I think in the next 3 months you will get a guy. That's normally I've seen in all startups. In the first 6 months, you find some people who can just take over 4 interns jobs, and they just belong to your vision. So yeah. So right. So what is the consumer side of audience that you have? So what are the active users from the consumer side? Though it's too early, it's like 3 months only. But give me some information from the consumer side.
All the consumers. So, to be honest, every doctor is scanning like 28 patients in a day
Right.
on an average.
And the record is kept in your app.
Yes.
Right.
And all of the patients of those doctors who are using Medino at the initial, who are our early adopters,
Right.
all their customers are using our app. That's the first thing. And also the network that we have built, those people are using. So on an average, I have a traction on the consumer side of approximately 4,000 to 5,000 consumers at the moment.
Right.
And this includes both from the doctor settings as well as the initial downloads that the user find out.
Right. Right.
We don't promote B2C. The reason being B2C is cash burn.
Is
So
what cash burn. Okay.
cash burn. Yeah. So if
Okay.
I have to promote B2C directly,
Right.
I will have to invest a lot of cash. Instead, we
So let's go back to the point. So cash
Yeah.
burn is a very quick pointer in there because you're just 3 months thing. So what I will talk about is my question will be, what is the value that he can derive when there is no doctor available? Right now he has not gone to the doctor. So there are 2 journeys of a customer on your app, right?
Correct.
One is the guy who does not have a dermatologist to go to. He might download it first, right? He'll be the early adopter. So what are the values that the early adopter, can get out of your app?
So the first of all is when you scan your skin or hair, if there is any like for example, I'll just give an example. The melanoma, which is a
Right.
skin cancer,
Right.
and a normal lesion,
Right.
both to a common man is same.
Right.
Okay. As a common man, I won't be able to understand whether this is a skin melanoma or if this is skin lesion.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Let's say you are a very healthy individual, you have no idea about all of this. You are the first sign, as I say, the AI detects cancer 10 years before it is even visible to the naked eye, or even in the X-ray settings or anything else, biopsy or anything it comes.
Yeah.
So that same AI which detects your cancers 10 years ago is being trained. So if you want to scan and it happens to be a melanoma,
Right.
it gives you an indication right away and also suggests you which if to consult with a doctor immediately.
Right.
That's one of the very biggest advantage that you can have using it as a consumer.
Right.
Cosmetic sites is all there. Aesthetic sites is all there, already there. For example, you can aesthetic sites, for example, when you are scanning your face, your appearance, right?
Right.
And let's say, I would say that there's a little bump coming in, and I don't realize at what kind of an acne it is, right? As a girl, it would be in hormone induced acne. As a girl, it would be a product induced acne. As in any kind of acne, it would be, right?
Right.
And I cannot justify as a person that okay, this is it. No, I don't have the knowledge. But even if it tells me that it's an hormone induced acne,
Right.
imagine that I know that my hormones are not in place.
Right.
I have to work on my lifestyle.
Right.
So that also gives a very good advantage for the users to use it on a consumer settings.
Right. And that is already deployed in your app, and
That is already deployed.
it's user friendly. That's
Yes.
my hunch, and you might be moving towards a product which is actually consumer focused that way. That's one more thing that is so the value I see in your product when it is a consumer side thing, right?
Yeah.
The biggest consumer of your app might be the guy or the girl who is, it might be guys, a number of them,
Yeah, absolutely.
guys,
The teenage
because they can't talk to anyone about it, but they can always look at an app and do it on their own. So that's the kind of culture. So looking at that, it might be that everyone is suffering a lot in India about their skin type, and there is a lot of temperature and climate variation
Even
in
hair.
as well.
There's a lot of baldness.
Yeah.
This hair thinning and baldness, a lot of early age young boys and girls have this problem of baldness. They don't even understand whether why their hair fall is happening.
Right.
Even guys, more on the guy side, they don't have that idea that this hair fall is not normal. This hair fall is not seasonal. This is with respect to something inherently happening inside my body.
Right.
So if you understand that this hair fall is going to lead to alopecia or going to lead to baldness at the initial stages, first stage 1, 2, 3 of hair loss, then it is treatable. Like you can do something, the lifestyle changes will allow you to regrow your hair. Once you achieve that stage, then the treatment gets costlier, everything is costlier. You can do transplant, etc. So it's important that the consumer understands at the earliest that this is what's going to happen to me 5 years down the line if I don't change some habits of mine.
So looking at your customer base, so from the consumer side again, I'm trying to understand the B2C side because B2B side is an amazing. It's a neat, but you can go through channels where the adoption drives the app to be used more. So you can go in and it is a one-on-one process of selling to a brand, right? From the consumer side, looking at the product. Uh, what is the age group? What are the demographics? What kind of people are there on your platform? Do you have that kind of data to say this, or are you in the nascent stage right now?
Okay, so very nascent, but nascently, whatever data we have 60% young generation at the age of 30, 35.
Right. So this is the database of 5,000 scans that have been done. Yeah.
30, 35.
Yeah.
And the adopters who are outside the dermatology settings, who are, the normal consumers who are using it, they are very young. So they are at the teenage age who are 16, 17 years of young boys, more on boys side, again, I'll tell you, who are trying to use and analyze their type, skin type and hair.
Right.
So this is a demographic so far without much marketing being involved. As I said, we're going a network effect for now since B2C is cash burn. But primarily, once you just need one, you know, one virality, we say, that people will start understanding how they can use it in their.
My experience in marketing has also told me one very small, amazing thing that money does not define your marketing. It's all about your creativity. In the moment, if the story aligns with the guys or the girls who are there, it does not need money. It just needs the channel and distribution that you be in the right way. You don't need to spend for organic search. You don't need to spend for organic posts, right? You just have to have an employee who just works on the idea or the concept or the insight that you worked on, right? So it is basically the insight.
Parallelly, that is what we are doing. I would tell you, like the Medino first, I have pivoted this adding dermatology to Medino.
Yeah.
But Medino initially was counterfeit medicines.
Right.
The journey with the Medino was actually started when I was going with my sister to Tata Memorial. She was fighting cancer.
Right.
And there I happened to see a lady who was being asked by the doctor for radiation therapy was going.
Okay.
And the doctor asked her whether she has taken capecitabine, a drug.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And if you take a chemotherapy drug, you cannot undergo radiation.
Right. Right.
That lady was from remote area of India. She was native. She didn't knew English. and she had a very small child along with her. So,
Right.
unsure, as I said, the doctors were unsure whether she has taken capecitabine or not, which could harm her further. So that's when the doctor postponed her radiation for a week and asked her not to take any medications. I was sitting there. It's almost 1.5 years ago. I'm talking about.
Right. Right.
Now, while I was sitting there, I just realized that so much are we doing in this space. There's so much that is happening, but yet the consumer is unknown about what medicine are you taking. Like it's I just talk. Metro cities are fine, but what about those rural settings where they don't know? Those people don't know how to scan their medicines. Those people don't know how to Google. They cannot even read the capecitabine as a spelling. And it's not only in India; it's across the places where literacy rate is low. People don't know English. People are in different languages. So that's where the idea of Medino actually came in. That why not create something for them so that they can just understand their medicines. They can understand whether this medicine is for what. You have all that information available on internet, open source, but that is not what the user is looking for. And at the time of looking, you have hundreds of information. Which one is correct, which one is not. That is not there. So from there, the journey started exactly for the consumers. From medicines, it went to cosmetics because medicine and cosmetics are interrelated.
Right.
From cosmetics, we went to personalized scan,
Right.
giving patient the personalization of how they can use it in for them. And from there, it went to the dermats.
Okay.
And then the B2C went in a network effect. So that if I'm tapping in dermats, one dermats, I said, as I mapped to 28 patients, if I just scale the dermat area, I'm scaling the Medino B2C part by itself. So GTM changed because dermatologists got involved. I went to a doctor to understand, to add that boundary layer. At what level the user will not self-prescribe. Like I don't want to self-prescribe medication. I
Right.
don't want you
Correct.
to unnecessarily go and buy some medications, etc. for your where the doctors gave me an idea that if you can identify these minute details from your space, if you give me this in a report format, it will be very easy for me to come to a conclusion that this is it, this is what I have to give. So that's where the responsible AI part came into picture. That okay, if I want to build something in healthcare, it has to be responsible from the perspective of the human consequences that can happen.
Right.
And the journey went ahead.
Right. So to drive adoption from the governance side of things across economies, as well as from the consumer side, you might need some compliance officers in your organization, right? Which might, in your structure, add to the value of your decision. Might
Yes.
not be the best decision because you are a specialist in data, and people need to have some understanding of they need to protect against the risks of a startup, right? And a company is the structure, right? So someone who's from the HIPAA compliance or some uh, Indian standards, whatever you think, if you're building first for India and then moving abroad, then in that case, you need Indian compliances more than what you need in the other economies. So have you thought about it? Are you moving in that direction?
Yes. So with the compliance part, that's why I said CMI plays a very, very crucial role.
Correct.
Because getting adopted by them sets a very straightforward process that this is what we have to follow to get the compliances in place.
Right. Right.
So there are clinical trials. There are clinical trials. How it has to happen. They have structured that. They help us in curating that. I'm saying why because CMI was the first institute who wanted us to collaborate and have all of this in place and make it a diagnostic tool. So being a founder, being a technical founder, you said it very correctly that the compliance person has to be there within the structure and doing it officially.
Yes. So currently you are protected by the context. So you are actually on the process of delivering to one requirement that you're moving towards. So obviously you will know what your goals are, right?
Yeah.
To achieve. But in the future, you might not know your goalpost, and you might just go in all directions to create demand in the market and then not get complied. So you need to align with either an outside agency or get a compliance officer inside your organization which talks to the agency at that scale.
It's
Right.
absolute. It's
Right.
yes.
Right. So you are moving in the right direction, I believe. You are having some understandings from the initial data that you have. Give me an understanding of what your feedback has been from the doctor's side.
Okay. Multiple feedbacks. Okay. There's one doctor who has several chains of hospitals who's using it. The dermat clinics, sorry, not hospitals.
Right.
Who's using it. The doctor said that, he's using it as a teleconsultation platform also. So
Okay.
what he does is he's referring to the patient who cannot visit for the follow-ups to
Hmm.
give a complete closed loop feedback.
Right.
He tells his patient that scan whatever you are applying other than the products that I have given.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And the patients are actually doing it because they pay a huge money to them for their
Right.
treatments.
Right.
So all the products we scan
Hmm.
and it tells the patient to, come. There's a profile scanning in the app also, which you can do it for a follow-up and put it. So he asked them to do that scan also bi-weekly so that, in the maths, the treatment goes long for 6 months.
Yeah, it depends on the skin type and the
We
problem.
have to find out
Yeah.
skin type and problems. Yeah, absolutely. So when you have settings and when you do those chemical peelings and etc., that goes for a longer journey.
Right.
With that report itself, he happened to understand that several of his patients
Hmm.
couldn't get the result that he was expecting is because of the products that they are buying. For example, a doctor suggested me to buy a X face wash
Right.
with an X ingredients. And I go to a pharmacy and a pharmacy gives me a Y product with same
Right.
X ingredients from a different brand. Okay.
Right.
So there might be a very minute formulary changes with respect to
Right.
brand settings also.
Right.
And doctor suddenly identifies, okay, a lot of my patients are not using this product because it is 1,000 rupees and this is of 600 rupees.
Hmm.
Okay. So we say it generically that the generic ones do give the same effect, but they don't give you the effect that a branded product gives you. There is a difference.
Is it?
It can go with you.
Right.
Yeah. It can go with you, but the results will be delayed. Okay. So
Right.
you don't get quicker results. It's
Right.
even with the medicines also. If you
Okay.
take a branded medicine, the result that you get is quicker. If you take a generic medicine, it suppresses and the result comes in after a longer time.
So you
was able
see
to
that
identify the very big
so this
challenge.
data. So for example, I was about to come to this point, but you have taken a direction of the point where you're saying that generic medicine might not be your platform might not
Yeah.
promote generic medicines. You even when it is the giving
It,
descriptive understandings, right? So for example, I was thinking from the first, I think the third question you answered, right? So the point was that you were saying that I scanned uh, bath
body wash.
body wash, and then the results
But
came out as the ingredients, right? Now, if the ingredients is the issue and the percentages of that ingredients in the mix is the issue, then why not generic medicines can also
Yeah.
solve it? The market opens up for people to go in for lower price medicines because of the prescription, not the medicine itself, right? In a way, the way I'm understanding. So the contribution of that medicine, not the medicine or the brand itself, right? So is that something that you have data that is conclusive, or are you assuming from the 4,500, 4,000, 5,000 database that you have?
The data, and I'm not assuming from the data, it is with
Obviously not
other
assuming
source
from
of
the data. Obviously, we can't assume from the data. Data will always tell you what it tells you, right? Sorry.
yes.
Yeah. So
It
from
is
that,
how yeah. So even before, like for example, I say it's prescribing, right? So
Hmm.
when we trained a model to prescribe medications, we had collected data. So what Medino you see today is not 1.5 year journey.
Right.
It's 6 years journey.
Amazing. Amazing.
Right from the UBC, I was working on the dermat model.
Right.
Right after during COVID, I was working with medicines and pharmaceutical industries. So those data and curated all has combined together to form Medino. And I'm giving you this insights from all of them together, that even though generically you buy any product, for example, XYZ, I will not name any product. To buy a generic product, it has an effect, but it has a delayed effect. Okay,
Right.
it doesn't give you effect immediately.
Right.
That is why there is a cost difference. The
Right.
cost difference is not because of the brand, it is because of how the formulation and chemicals are involved and how they are being set together.
Right.
So would be a little controversial, but there is there is a delayed effect with generic medications.
Correct.
And usually you would see the dermatological treatment if you're undergoing will always have a higher branded products that they will prescribe you.
Yeah. So this
And
thing of
after 6 months, the patient will be like, let it be. I'm switching on.
right. So
I'll just switch over to another brand because that's
correct. Correct. So, but in the end, that decision is to be taken by the doctor, right? So the doctor owns the process, and he
Yes. So at least he's informed.
Right.
As I said in the first
Yes.
itself,
yes.
the loop is closed. The
So-
doctor knows that he has not used the product that I have prescribed. Hence, the result is coming like this. So, what changes I have to do in my
Correct.
treatment
Correct.
so that he gets the effect?
Correct.
Otherwise, the doctor never knows. You go and tell. As a patient, I go and tell doctor, हाँ मैंने तो वही use किया था. I have used that same product, but inherently I had changed the product because of the price.
Right. True. True. And from that point, I have seen. So, for example, there were earlier around 5-6 years ago, there used to be a wave of startups which were into pharma, and they were saying that okay, you can go in and get some medicines of yours from this shop. It is a e-commerce for that, right? Many of them closed down at that point who did not know what compliance is, right? And if you're working starting from the compliance side, is something that builds your base and you move in that direction of creating a startup that can make value for the investors as well in the future. So are you cash positive? What is your financials? How do you see 3 months? I'm not expecting much of a data, but obviously, what are you using your money with? What is your cash burn going towards? How are you controlling that cash burn? So what is your 3 months as a company running financially?
So,
Yes.
if I go with this journey bootstrap completely,
Yes.
I am cash positive
Amazing.
already because
Awesome.
it's a value to the dermats. Okay.
Yeah.
One EMR solution to the dermats costs approximately 3 lakhs Indian rupees annually subscription.
Amazing.
So with that, if I go slow as a bootstrap journey, I'm already cash positive. But if I have to scale and introduce this IoT device that I'm introducing in the market right now for the dermascope, for the dermats,
Correct.
for that, which is just designed, we're just applying the patent for that. And once the patent is there, we will.
You've applied it. It's in the process.
Yes, it's in the process.
Got it.
So once the patent is there, it's done. We have everything set. The cost for that, for actually manufacturing that, we are raising round. Okay.
Right.
We're raising a round of 2.5 crore seed round, out of
Amazing.
which 25 lakhs has already been committed by Bid3 accelerators. And
Okay. You know Build3.
yes.
So Goa.
I was a
Okay.
Yes.
So Varun Chawla is my high school senior, and I am connected with him for a very long time. So so before 91 Springboard, I worked with him. It has been an amazing journey with him, and yeah, so he's my mentor as well. So amazing.
Oh, absolutely. He's an amazing person. So yeah, so he has backed us with 25 lakhs, and
Okay.
that's how their terms are.
Okay.
And raising 2.5. That's primarily for manufacturing our IoT product.
So how much is your valuation?
With them, they have a convertible note.
Yeah, so convertible notes is the best approach in this moment, because obviously, then because this is your first seed round, and obviously
Yes.
you don't want to make your cap table dirty for the next round. So that's
Yes.
good to do it. But what is your valuation currently on which you are raising 2.5? Do you know?
We are open to the valuation as of now.
Okay, okay.
The so we're at 2.5. We are tentatively approximately diluting 10%, but
Right.
that depends on
Understood.
when the
Now
payment
understood.
comes in.
No worries.
Yeah.
So I have the valuation, right? So
Yes.
yeah. So that's fine.
If the patent comes in before the money gets into the account,
Obviously the valuation goes up, and while the thing is, but obviously there is one caveat to the whole game then. So then you have to close the round and open another round,
yes,
because then what happens is trust is broken while the money is being raised. That should not happen. That should never happen, because obviously the process becomes more cumbersome for you. Because giving you an example of one startup we just invested in, where Buildtree also was a part of that investment, which you see on my profile, I think on LinkedIn as well. Renew Cred. So they
yes, very
yes,
recent.
yeah. So basically, in that raise, it has taken them 1 year to raise. It has taken realistically 1 year to raise, right? And it has taken a journey for him to come to the UK. I trying to introduce him to people. He also making his own contacts and everything, and going to places. It's a journey to raise, right? But raising is just a tool in the end.
Correct.
It is not the end goal. Obviously, if you get too happy about the money raised, then obviously you've lost the value. So that is one
Because
thing that obviously you must be knowing. You must be through the process to know that, right? Uh, so you are ready to raise on a platform like this, then obviously you should also share some details with us also. Um, uh, from the health tech side, I could connect you with some people in that way as well. Mine will be a very individual kind of an approach. I will not be a build three kind of an approach. But I come as a network. So I come as a network, which is structured very simply in a very small way, where you will also be very comfortable knowing that it is a document we sign, and then we just go ahead and work for you on that side. If you're looking for UK expansion, we are very happy to see, because you're an app based thing. Till the time you want expand your app and not your physical in the beginning, which I don't recommend. You should first build for India and then to the world, because obviously India is your place and you've already been gifted for India, right? So you have so much of health care, which is trustable healthcare in India. The volume of healthcare in India is to the roof. It is not compared to
correct.
anything, any other economy in the world. So you are in the right space for physical devices. But for the AI part of it, right? If you're thinking of getting some introductions, getting some understandings, I'm always here. So I'm always basically connecting India to UK. So you can always, yeah. So
I'll be happy to collaborate in
I'll
this.
connect with you some people who will get you into the ecosystems of health in the UK if you're interested. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there
That
is,
would be that's
yeah.
always been the idea. It was
It is
not
just an
only
idea. It is just an idea. So don't put everything on pedestal. You've just got your first interest from Build 3. But don't put anything on pedestal. Take a pinch of salt and put it on everything. Uh, so basically, from a distance, UK looks a big thing. Let's be very direct.
I know.
You have to build what you have to build. Countries don't matter. Please understand that. Right? Uh,
The reason I came back to India, I would tell you I was in Canada. There were a lot of people around me
right.
who were telling me, why would you come back? Why
Right.
would you do this? Why
Right.
would you do that? And the only thing that, my close friend back then,
Right.
she told me geography does not matter if you have to succeed in life. And that's exactly what you're telling me. So that's when I'm going back to India. I will work there. And
Right.
it's the right thing that I did. Geography didn't matter. After that, I've been traveling across the world, but only for the work purpose. So
Right.
that's very true. Geography don't matter if you have to get succeed.
Sure. So, what is your vision for the next year? What is the vision for the next 2 years? What do you see using your, so now that you have a understanding of what you're raising, and you've already gone into the understanding of what is the cap table looking like for the next 1 year, I think you must be having a vision aligned to that raise, right? So what is the
Yeah.
vision? Please tell me.
So I just want one thing, that whenever a decision is made in healthcare, it is an informed decision.
Right.
And my product be part of it, where nothing is missed by the doctor
Right.
in treating a patient, because even as it's human consequences that comes in, right? So there are two aspects to it. I want people to understand the risk of the products that they are using very clearly.
Correct.
And from the clinician's perspective, I want them to treat AI as their partner and not the black box. Okay, I want them to make safer and better decisions using Medino. Maybe longer journey, I would have some other thing also coming into the platform. But globally, for me, success is that the decisions which are made in healthcare has to be informed and safe and does not harm a human. That's my end goal for with the Medino for 2 years.
So that's the connect of the product, right? Now tell me the numbers that you are aiming to achieve. Do you have any numbers of monthly active users on your app? Number of clients that you will be able to convert? Are there from the sales side? What are your numbers? And so, for example, so let's come back and let's start with the small question of what is the price of a device for a doctor, and what is the for him a membership is going in. What is your commercial model, business model?
Yeah. So we have
Hmm.
3 subscription based layers for the doctors.
Correct.
And for the consumers also we have it. For the doctors, the first one is the basic, which starts at 1.3 lakhs, which is
Right.
just the EMR, which is just the
This is per annum
clinic
or per month?
per year.
Per year.
1.3 lakhs per year.
Right.
That's the basic cost for the doctor as a subscription, where they only get to see the generated reports of the patient and nothing else.
Right.
It's just scan and the report. That's it.
Right.
Okay. Then we have another layer, which is the premium layer, which is I'm telling you, this is a discounted price. This is 50% discounted for the first 2 years. Okay. 1.3 lakhs. We have a premium, which is 1.7 lakhs, which also includes the doctor and the AI report, as well as the EMR for the dermats.
Right.
Integrated EMR, but they can use it for their clinic operations perspective as well, generating invoices, creating AI-based reports or the prescription and just getting printed out. So it comes with that. And lastly, we have the Pro, the final product, which is 3 lakhs, which also includes the device.
Right.
So we have one such consumer who's piloting with our device already.
Yeah.
With this, so with 3 lakhs, you get the device
Right.
with all inclusive.
Right.
If you only want the device is costing 1.25.
Right. That's a
That
lifetime
device
kind of a buy. You just
That
buy
the
it.
lifetime, and plus you have to take a subscription. Minimum
Obviously, otherwise, how will it operate? Right. Without the subscription, it won't operate. Right.
Yes. So basic subscription has to be there for the device to operate.
Right.
Along with that, the device cost is 1.
Right. Right.
And for the as I said, patient scanning, the app that we have $399 monthly subscription as of now for the consumer side.
Right.
But 3 months it is free for them, so that we get the traction.
Correct. Correct. So that's okay, and that's basically dating your database,
That they get
and your database is also gold for you. So you're actually building something on top of it. So obviously, it makes sense to make it free for those guys in the beginning, and then moving to the premium.
because they are the ones who will give me data. Like
Yeah.
to the doctors, I will get only set of data set. But if I have consumers on my platform, they want to give me more data, which is ultimately making my model more stronger to make informed decisions. So that is why that part was there.
Right. And you might need some researchers to align with you as well in terms of knowing your product, and then moving forward with understanding and making more data interpretations as the data becomes big data over a period of time. So that movement should happen parallelly while you're doing this, right?
Yeah. So I'm in touch with a couple of researchers on the academic side.
Right.
Okay, I'm already in talks with Symbiosis University.
Amazing.
The dean of the university is very, very keen in aligning his vision with mine, especially for
Right.
the research.
Right.
So those are initial talks going on. One are nothing finalized as of now, but
Right.
uh, soon, like they are there in place. So
Right.
maybe you would see another like, 2 months or 3 months, the finalizing of how the research and collaboration will happen, so that the data that we collect and even they collect can be collaboratively used for uh, this purpose.
Amazing. Amazing. Hmm.
So considering in terms of financial, how we project
Yes.
the like what
What's your vision? So, what's your
Yeah.
financial vision for the next mission of this year, going towards it? Yeah.
So I would say we are expecting with this seed round,
Yeah.
we will be expecting to break even in 18 months
Okay.
with having 450 clinicians in place and mostly in the premium category. And the I would say if you look into the CAC of it is 1.36 lakhs. So average customer acquisition cost is 1.36 lakhs.
Okay. 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 And
With a gross margin, we have a gross margin of 62%.
done. Right. Understood. So, from a gross margin side of points, it is a very good number that you're talking about. So, the gross margin is amazing. That 62 is a very good number. So, one simple question then in the end is, uh, what are some challenges that you faced in developing this, and what were the some of the product challenges that you're facing currently that you're working on? And number two, when you raise this fund, how will you be using that fund? Or what will be the major crux of operational additions that you do with that, or whatever you do with that money? Yeah.
So the biggest challenge that comes in is you have to fit this into the clinician workflow. As I said, we are doing it for clinicians. B2C is very nominal money that's going to come in.
Correct.
But the major chunk is going to come from B2B.
Mm.
So adapting the user adaptability with respect to their workflows, because every clinic will have a different workflow.
Correct.
And to set it with their workflow, no, I'll just take you one line. The technology goes in weeks,
Mm.
but healthcare system needs years. Okay, so to close that loop of healthcare, it takes time. Okay, to set this into a clinician workflow. So that's the primary problem that we face. But now we have solved it. As I said, you don't want the app, take the device, because device is like they are already used to, right? So fitting in the gap and identifying how can we tap into the more clients, just with the problems that we have faced in adapting only software. And the next question is
And how are you going to? So one was, how are you going to do?
utilization of the money that we are raising.
Yes. Yes.
So the major use of this seed round is more into development and production of our device, and that's 40% of it. 30% goes into the marketing expansion, because we need the team to scale. If we have to scale to the 450 dermats that we are looking for, you need the team to empower. And the 10% goes into the patent filing that we'll be filing for other products as well. And rest 20% goes in team, scaling of the team.
Right. Right. Right.
So the major is in developing the product
Yeah.
that we'll be launching soon. Because in the product, the cost of the product is 30,000 to me at the moment when I'm building a small, 1, 2, 3, or maybe 10 products at a time. The cost is 30. But if I build it in masses, it's going to cost me 15,000 only.
Right.
So the major 40, that's a 40% goes into developing that product.
So now looking at which batch of Build 3 were you?
Cohort 6.
Cohort 6. Okay. So you've graduated from there and they've given you an understanding of 25 lakhs that we will be happy to enter in your conversation. So you must be ready with your paperwork, and you must be ready with the legal team. You must be ready with the process that is involved in building trust while you're raising. So,
Yeah.
are you ready with that, or do you need any support from any side of pitch decks or whatever? Which stage are you?
So we do have the process,
Yeah.
but in place. Um, I would say we are just about to sign the term sheet. Not yet signed. This is the last cohort which happened,
Right.
and we have the term sheet in place with us, and we just
Correct.
have to
You
sign
have the
it.
term sheet and you have all the documentation in place to
Yes.
start a trustable journey in raising your money, right?
Please.
Amazing, amazing. And your product has the right kind of push for the dermatologist side of things. Would love to see your product as a demo if I could ever get a hands-on to a link or something that you could send me, or however we could see a demo through a video or something. Would love to add it to this video as well, to see if we can make sure that your product also comes into the light. Apart from that, the product stands at a very nice position of, for example, taking making a supportive function to a dermatologist who's trying to make decisions on varied climate conditions and contextual and individual data. And this might not be if sometimes is a very critical problem that they are solving in dermatology, or it is a lifestyle problem that they are solving. On all these criterias, I believe you stand in the middle to give them the right kind of prescriptive kind of to the doctors to understand the data better, right? That is where you are,
Correct.
right? And you're
Correct.
complied as well,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Also, to add on it, I would just say that a lot of times these dermats has to go back and refer their books.
Yes,
Okay, because
correct.
that's the what they see and what is happening has a difference in that.
Yeah, so
So
brings in
they have to go
efficiency.
back and read their books. There
Yeah.
are several books, and every regional specific there are books. Okay, so as I said, skin tone varies, everything else varies. So based on that, you have some books that they learn from, and every time you have to go back. There's one I would just mention about. My Medino also has CDSS in place for these clinicians. The premium version provides clinical decision support system
Right,
where they do not have to go back and refer those books.
right.
That clinical decisions based on the boundaries of the medical books that they have learned from,
Hmm.
they can just talk to it because patient data is already there with them. The scan is already there. The report is already there.
Right.
You just speak to it whatever you want, and you can actually set the treatment plan for that patient. Okay, this is the first step. This is second step. This is third step. This is fourth step. And I call it as a derma sheet. It gives you derma sheet at the end, which is very powerful tool.
Hmm.
Which is going to help them to, without going back to the book, you just refer them and gets updated as and when
My
you
question. So this might be because of, is there, if Param supercomputer connection
Yeah.
to your product is the asset to this point,
Yes,
right?
absolutely true. Because that's where that's the computer we use to train all of it.
Correct.
Apart from the clinical part of it, but this part of the journey actually started with Param supercomputers.
And it has some legacy data that has already trained the supercomputer to react to inputs coming to it, right?
Yes, yes,
Amazing.
absolutely. Yes.
And how did you
So
get the access to it? Through the CMI. Okay.
No, not the CMI. We got it access to CDAC in Pune.
CDAC. Correct. Correct. So how did you get
CDAC
access to
University.
CDAC? Just getting curious.
We had applied. So there's in the Airavat was the opportunity being provided
Amazing.
by CDAC. And we filled up the form with that. They saw the product, they saw what we already have. The only requirement that they said was the model should not be a Chinese model.
Correct.
So that's our own trained model. So it's not a Chinese model, so we can train it. And they gave us access to all of this. And 136 hours of GPU training that provided for a week. And that's massive. That could give us a lot of expansion to various other things that we couldn't actually do because you need GPU to train the models on.
And it's a very strategic way of how India is building all domain specific supercomputer applications across. So there is a defense kind of supercomputers coming in. There is health tech is supported by their own supercomputers. It's the layer of all 5 layers of AI that India is right now working on, and not making one monopolistic execution at scale the way other countries are doing. So that's an amazing thing that I'm also discovering through your product as well. So your value chain is very, I believe that value chain is very, very stable and structured.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would just say, like, when you talk about AI trends, next AI trends that is going to
Right.
follow out
Right.
is
Right.
this exactly. You need to have a domain specific models, which are smaller ones. We don't need LLMs for everything that we're doing.
Correct.
What we need are SLMs,
Yes, you need specialized LLM.
small language,
Yes. Yes.
that domains. Yes,
Yeah.
which are domain specific models will have some, they need to have human AI collaboration. When in healthcare, they need to have government audit layers as well, because that's very, very important. They just can't go and, be overconfident and speak louder. Like, it's
Right.
not louder. It has to be disciplined. It
Right.
has to be quieter systems, which will
Right.
follow all of this together. So,
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So basically, your value chain is really nicely done up. Your product is Medino, and I would love to know more about your product. I've already given those requirements to you, and I think you will be able to get those things across to me. And amazing to have you on this podcast, and it was a pleasure having you. And we will help our audience to understand each and every term of technical term that she has already talked about, and we'll give details of each one of them for you. So I would request my audience to like, subscribe the way everyone else tells you to do. So thank you, thanks so much. Pleasure to have. Same here. Bye. You've been listening to Impactech Studio podcasts. Karunya's journey shows how responsible AI can reduce trial and error in healthcare, support clinicians, and improve outcomes for patients across regions. From early risk detection to context aware dermatology insights, Medino represents a new direction for clinical intelligence. If this conversation resonated, subscribe on Spotify and YouTube. Share it with your network and stay tuned as we continue highlighting founders building meaningful impact. Keep building with purpose.